talk about the traditional education system. The traditional education system is shutting down. It is collapsing. Before, entrepreneurs like Simon Squibb on LinkedIn criticized the so-called traditional education system. I partially agreed with what he was saying, but then a part of me disagreed with what he said. But now, upon a second thought, I now understand where he is coming from. And I am also beginning to agree with most of the things he said. The traditional education system is producing a lot of graduates who are becoming unemployed or who end up being unemployed. The system is not ready to restructure, to adopt new technologies and know-how into the system to produce graduates who are really needed by the system. For instance, in fields like the pure sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, produce a lot of graduates who end up being unemployed. I have a PhD in biology, biochemistry and molecular biology, and I wanted to join the German military. The representative told me that they did not need my know-how. Of course, that was not the only reason. There are other reasons, but one of them was because they did not need someone with a biology or biochemistry PhD. The system is producing a lot of students or graduates who are highly disappointed because right from the beginning of time, there was this preaching that was going on that if you study hard and you have a degree, you will be gainfully employed. But that is not the case anymore. So now, the more you climb higher in the educational system, unless you find yourself, you become a professor or a researcher at a university, or you are fortunate to get a research position in an institution. Apart from that, the more you climb higher in the system, especially and if also you are a foreigner, the more you climb higher, the more you become unemployed. In my case, for instance, I was once interviewed by a job. And this man asked me why I pursued PhD instead of working. I then told him that PhD, I paid taxes, is work. But to him, he has less knowledge about the entire system, so he disregarded my entire 5 to 6 years of hard work during my PhD. So the main reason why I'm making this video is to find a way to overcome this unemployment crisis. And one of the avenues of overcoming this unemployment crisis is to be highly selective in the kind of programs you pursue in life, the kind of educational system you want to have. In this particular era, skills that are of high demand are like the handwork skills, like the plumbing, the electricians, the roof constructor, and so forth. However, if you don't find yourself in this field and you are still following the traditional path, make sure that you acquire skills like entrepreneurial skills, because that is the current order of the day. We are in an era where every individual stands a chance of becoming an entrepreneur. And if you don't learn this skill in an institution, a university, when you complete your university degree, you come into the world, you would have to learn it. Yes, so entrepreneurial skills is one of the highly demanded skills. Of course, skills like communication skills, interpersonal skills, and so forth will never die off. They are of high demand. And one other skill that is of high purpose to every individual is to be able to use every new AI tool that emerges in the system. We should play with the AI tools. We should never be hesitant in building. In fact, subscribe to a number of these tools, try them out in so many avenues. Build and ship, and that is the order. Build and ship quickly. Build every thought that comes into head. Build it. Execute it, ship it as quick as possible, and wait for feedback. And use the feedback as a leverage to expand the building, to improve what you are building. That is the only way that I call it the last remnant of the traditional education, can survive the so-called disappointment that the traditional education is bestowed on unemployed graduates. The traditional education system is a system that is established not only to help students but also to make money. And so long as money keep coming, they are not going to restructure it until it comes to a time that most realize that the system is not helping and the system is not making the amount of money that it's supposed to make. That is the time that the system will think about restructuring to produce graduates that are actually needed in the system, in the living, that is actually needed in our day-to-day lives. So one of the ways to overcome the massive unemployment rate is to harness the capability of artificial intelligence. We should build and build. And with this advent of AI tools, there are numerous avenues. AI now is employed in almost every field in the world. Yes, so one can harness these tools in diverse ways to build something that is useful in our society. So the question that I have for you guys is that, do you still have belief in the traditional education system? Do you think that the traditional education system will learn quickly and adapt to the current situation? What is your take on this? Subscribe to Move Abroad Reality and let's keep the fire burning together. Peace.